Hello everyone and welcome to Lion's Lane. My name is Leo and today we're doing another prompt in the Flying July challenge, of which I made up myself. If you guys have no idea what I'm talking about or what that is, go back and watch my last video. I talk all about it there. There's even a prompt list and everything in the beginning of that video. So what we're doing today is following along with that challenge. I guess I can give a brief rundown. So basically, every day this month, I'm challenging myself by drawing something from a prompt list that has to do with a flying thing. It can be flying creatures, flying technology, etc. So for today, the prompt was copy. So at the very beginning there, you might have seen some of my poses that I was testing out. But I decided to go with this one. It was really cute in my head. And because of the cute nature of it, which is basically a guy that looks like this bird that's mimicking his movements and stuff. Because of the cuteness in my head, I wanted to make it kind of a more cartoony style. I still do my same old like colored lines and stuff like that, but I really wanted to make it a sort of out of the box, for me anyway, kind of situation. So can you hear the birds? I have my window open. Let me close my window. Alright, so you guys may be noticing that this one's going a bit faster than the last one. That's because I started the recording with already having a sketch down, because I thought it might save me time. But it actually ended up taking twice as long as the last one, so that plan didn't go as I intended. But that's okay. You guys haven't missed much. I'm just adding in some details here with another layer of line art over top of my sketch. And then right now at this moment in the video, I'm trying to figure out a background. As I stated in my last video, I don't really want to spend a whole lot of time on backgrounds, since this is something I'm going to be doing every day for 30 days consistently. So I just tried to put in some quick trees. And I can tell you now, I ended up hating this. So we end up getting rid of the trees, but that's besides the point. At the moment, there's like a nice leafy texture, you know. I was trying to use different brushes, trying to see how I felt about everything, but I just was not feeling it. It looked a little too much like a storybook. And the vibe I was going for was more like an early comic, like, you know, where it was mostly just flat colors and they used a lot of shape language to depict things in the background, stuff like that. So I decided to just turn off the background and go straight into line art. So that's what we're doing now. So the tool I'm using to ink my piece here, and which I use to ink most of my pieces, is in the inking category of Procreate. I believe it's just called the gel liner or gel pen. Oh wait, no, that's incorrect. It's actually the syrup pen is what it's called, a syrup pen. And I've edited mine so that it has a bit more stabilization and pressure control, but it is the syrup ink pen. It works really well for the type of line art I like to do. My stuff's not really sketchy, so this pen does good for that. For some reason, I really had a hard time with this design, or this prompt rather. I think it's because this idea didn't come to me right away. Like I said at the very beginning, I had like 2 or 3 different poses I wanted to use, but I wasn't sure, and I ended up picking this one. I just really wasn't feeling it for some reason. I think because it's not my usual thing, which that's why it's supposed to be a challenge, right? I don't normally draw birds, or I occasionally will draw like an angel or something, but I don't really draw birds. I don't really draw this pose ever. I mean, I guess I'm kind of lucky because this pose does have the arms above the head, just like the last one. So it's good that it worked out that way, but I probably had it stamped in my brain. So here we can see the background coming back a little bit, but mainly just me filling with some colors and stuff like that. And here I'm redoing the trees. I'm actually drawing them a bit more detailed than I had before, adding some roots at the bottom and some branches at the top, which I think makes it look a little better. And there I just duplicated that layer and then flipped it and did the same with the leaf shapes I did here. So my theme for this was kind of like imagining a guy on vacation at some kind of zoo, and he's at the aviary, and you walk through the aviary and there's a tons of different birds. So he walks through the aviary and he sees this bird that's kind of similar to a parrot. And they look very similar, and he's like, wow, that's so cool. And then the parrot, or whatever the bird is, mimics his movements. So that's kind of where my brain took me with the copy prompt. And I think it's kind of cute. I thought it was a little cute. Okay. So now I'm adding in some flat colors, which really this piece would have been fine with just flat colors, but of course I had to push it to the limit and do lines and stuff, or lighting and stuff. It took me a little bit to figure out what color I wanted his shirt to be. I was gonna do red, but I kept it cohesive to the background. And that little band on his arm made me think of how I really need to start thinking of different accessories for people to wear, because that's like my go-to, a band of some kind or a bracer. So here I'm adding in the orange of the bird, which is the same orange of the hair. And I normally wouldn't line it like that, but I had a gap in my line art, so it wasn't filling in all the way. But I figured it out, so no problem there. I apologize if you guys can hear the birds. It's very hot, so I have my windows open. But it kind of fits. It's like they knew. I also think some of the proportions on that log might be a little off, but when you're trying to do a piece in like 3 or 4 hours, which this one took me longer than the Prism piece, you kind of stop trying to make everything so perfect, I realized. Which I think is good. I'm a super perfectionist when it comes to my art. I can easily spend 11 to 12 hours on one piece. And that's not even considering if I'm painting. If I'm painting, it can be easily twice that much. So yeah, I guess this kind of forces me to like speed things up and not be so persnickety. But overall I don't think it's bad. I think I just had a different idea in my head. Like it's similar, but it was even cuter in my brain, if that makes sense. So here I'm just adding some little like negative space to kind of make it look like stems or the center of the petals here. He's got on these, like, in my mind they were kind of like swim trunks. A lot of people on summer vacation will just walk around in swim trunks. So that's what I'm doing there. I was you can tell I was getting a bit tired because I started checking how long I had been working on it. At that point I think it was about 3.5 hours. So here I go, just coloring the lines again, just doing the things that I think would make the most sense or that would have the most pleasant effect. So I'm doing the skin. If I change the color of the lines, I always do the skin at the very least. And I think I changed the hair. Yeah, the hair and then the feathers on Mr. Birb over there. I think Mr. Birb is pretty much all of his lines are colored in. Like I don't think it's bad. I'm not as happy with this one as the last one, I will say. It definitely took me out of my comfort zone to try and think of a unique idea. And making everything a bit more cartoony is not really what I'm used to, so that kind of threw me for a loop, and I was finally, after 3.5 hours, I was like, okay, well, let's finish this up. So I did color the lines in the shirt and the shorts, because they looked a little too harsh. And then, of course, I colored the mouth line. And then I colored that kind of sweatband there, the lines of that. So the next thing I'm doing is adding some shading. Very, very minimal shading here. My usual shading is like much more in depth than this, but I just put some very minimal shading. I think I airbrush a few things here. And then here I am, I'm trying to figure out the shading on these shorts since the flowers are on a different layer. So I just locked that layer and went over top with the appropriate color for shading there. I'm not sure if this parrot, in my head he's a parrot. Does he look like a bird, like a mascot of something? He looks so familiar, like I'm wondering if I pulled him out of my brain. So here I am doing some highlighting. If anybody's curious, I'm just using the Luminance light. I believe it's called the Luminance light brush. It's pretty good. It draws with a certain glow to it, so I like to use it for highlights sometimes. It kind of saves you an extra step of work. And I did not bother to include any extra depth in this piece. I just was not feeling it. But the good news is I already have my idea in place for tomorrow's video, and I think you guys are going to like that one a lot more. I'm excited for it. I think that one I'll be way more into. The prompt for tomorrow is blackbirds, and I already have this idea kind of like this character. It's just a headshot, or maybe shoulder up, basically. And they've got pale skin and white hair, and then they're contrasted by these 3 black crows kind of flying around them. So I'm really excited to do that one. I can see it very clearly, unlike this piece. So look forward to that. I'm looking forward to it. So yeah, I did some highlights on the flesh there. Ooh, well, let me say skin. I did some highlights on the skin on this rope. I didn't go too overboard with the details in this one because, like I said, I just wasn't really feeling it. But I think overall it's a cute concept and it turned out pretty cute. I do like that they're mimicking each other, and I really like their expressions. I think that's my favorite part and why I chose to do a little more cartoony, because there's just so much life in their facial expressions, in my opinion. And here I'm just fiddling with the background, trying to get it at a place where I'm decently happy with it. I was going to add some text and stuff, but I was like, I just don't have time. I gotta get these babies going, you know? That highlight ended up being too bright, so I toned it down a little. But yeah, this is almost done. I think I just add a little bit more shadow underneath the leaves. Yeah, I think that's what I'm doing right now. And then it's basically done. So thank you guys so much for watching. I feel like this one probably was not as entertaining as the last one, but I hope you liked it anyway. I learned a lot in this current experiment, in this challenge with this prompt. So kind of what not to do, what to do, and stuff like that. But yeah, here it is. As always, if you liked it, leave a thumbs up, make sure to subscribe and turn on your notifications, and I will see you guys in the next video.